I haven't made a video in over 5 months, and I haven't told anyone where I went. So I want to take a little bit of a moment to try to explain what's been going on. It's been kind of crazy. But I want to start off by saying I'm sorry. Last time I did one of these, I said I was going to do a few horror videos on another channel, and I did, but I only did one, and I instantly lost motivation, which sounds like a pretty bad thing, and it kind of was, but it came with a breakthrough. I found out that for some weird reason, every year, at the exact same time, I get a massive surge of motivation to try something completely different. One year it was an SMP, then it was like a vlog that I did, and then this year it was a short film. I always wanted to be a director, so I figured instead of waiting for someone to make me do it, I just did it myself. So I did, and that was the start of the next 5 months of my life. I'm not kidding. So I wanted to make a short film, but I also wanted the short film to be difficult to make. That was mainly because I knew that the first short film I make is going to be the worst, but it's going to be the one that I learn the most from. So I figured if I make it incredibly difficult, I'm going to learn the most from it. Does that make sense? Or was that kind of weird to do? I don't know. And to make it as difficult as I could, I gave myself a few constraints, including a non-linear story structure. I wanted multiple actors. I wanted half of the film to be kind of like a silent film and half with dialogue. That way I get to learn both types of filmmaking. I wanted it to be set in a time era that I wasn't really that familiar with. I went with the 1920s, I think. And I wanted to give myself only 3 months. I kind of ran over time a little bit with the editing, but all of that were the constraints. But planning the actual short film was kind of like planning a YouTube video. I had my constraints and I knew what I had to do, and I just did it. I planned everything that I could have possibly thought of. Anything that could have gone wrong, anything that could have gone right but I could have made better, I planned all of it. So while it was different, it was still fairly familiar. And the very basic idea of the story is that we see a painter making a painting, and we cut back to his past of him being like tormented by his parents. That's the idea. And eventually it leads up to this big climax at the end. It was kind of like just a very basic idea for a standard student short film. So I had the plan, I had the script, the storyboard, everything was kind of ready. But I had to get actors. And I don't know a single actor, which is kind of difficult. So I started emailing people and sending the script off to a few agencies. I thought it was awful, the script. I couldn't stand reading it. I had done so many redrafts of it, completely rewriting the full thing, so I couldn't really remember which one I sent off to which agency. Looking back, that was kind of a bad idea. I should have just made one good script and sent that off to everyone. But anyway, after a few weeks, I finally had a response from an agency who actually liked it, which was kind of crazy to me. I couldn't imagine someone reading something I made and then liking it. That was crazy to me. But then they asked for a character sheet for each of the 3 actors that are in the script for the actors to read. I had not made one of them. In fact, I didn't even know what a character sheet was. So I responded to the agency on email saying, yes, my team and I will do this now. In the background, it was just me scrambling and Googling what a character sheet is, because I had no idea what it was. Basically, it's just a document with everything the actor needs to know, like pay, time, location, what the character's like, personality, wardrobe. Realistically, it was kind of silly of me not to have thought about that beforehand, but eventually I made one, sent it off, and I got a reply from them saying, "We've sent it to the actors." After a while, I got a few emails back from the actors asking to be a part of the film, which was crazy to me. Some people had gone out of their way to make a self-tape of them reading part of the script to send to me to review and see if they would fit the part. So it went from me having absolutely no actors, not knowing any of them, to suddenly having people ask to be in the film. I had like so many people apply as well. There were 3 parts and I had like 15 people apply. I had to turn people down. Eventually I picked out the 3 actors, confirmed a date to film, and we were good. I think it was like June 15th and 16th. It was 2 days. These dates will become important later, but in the meantime, I was working on the set. As I said earlier, it was all in one location, so I picked the garage. So I'm quite lucky to have quite a big garage, so I turned it from this to this. Again, I tried to make it look like the 1930s, 1920s style that I said I was going for, which, to be fair, for like a painter's room, I think I did an alright job. I think it's alright. Most of the stuff was from charity shops and like car boot sales. I think the cost for the entire thing was maybe £100. which is pretty good really, I think. I then assembled a crew of just me and a few of my mates, who again have remotely no experience on a film set, and then we were good to film. Day of filming, June 15th. This was the hottest day of the year. As I said earlier, we were going to film in a garage, 8 people in a small, crowded garage on the hottest day of the year. Dude, it was swelteringly warm. I also threw up 4 times because I was so nervous, but eventually all the actors and the crew got here on time, which was good, and we started filming. As I said earlier, I did a pretty decent job of the pre-production stage, so it all ran fairly smoothly. But there was one really embarrassing bit, and it was just after rehearsing the entire scene and telling the actors where to go and how we wanted it to flow and, you know, stuff like that, stuff that they needed to know. But it was the first bit we were actually gonna film, and all it was one of the actors was gonna move from out of the frame into the frame. That was it. So I put the camera in the right place, made sure it was in focus, and then for the very first time, I said, action. And the actor moved into frame, and I think all of my attention was brought onto saying action and keeping the camera steady and focused on them, that I forgot to say cut and, you know, stop the actor from continuing the scene. Again, she just had to move into frame, and I completely forgot that. So she then started to go through the other parts of the script, nearly getting through the entire scene, before she then turned to me and said, aren't I just moving into the frame? And she was absolutely right, and I just completely forgot to say cut. That was the first thing we did. Oh my gosh, it was the most embarrassing thing I've done in a while, I can't lie. Honestly, all the actors and everyone that helped out on that day did genuinely such a good job. Really, every single person added so much into it. So yeah, we finished off the filming. It was all done, all perfect. A few times it's not quite in focus, but I think it's kind of forgiving for a student film. But then it was moving on to the editing stage, which was pretty easy. It just took a long time. I think it was about a month I spent editing, which is quite a while really, considering the entire film's only 9 minutes and 4 seconds long. But eventually, the film was done. Now, once you finish the short film, you've kind of got 2 options. You can either upload it to YouTube or send it through the film festival circuit. And that's what I'm doing. So at the moment, the short film isn't on YouTube yet. I think it might be in maybe like 4 months' time, once the major film festival circuit is done this year. But I have been accepted currently into 2 film festivals. Only 2 so far, hopefully a few more a bit later. The events haven't started yet, but already I've managed to get into the semi-finalist in one of them and being nominated for an award in the other. So fingers crossed, hopefully it does quite well, I'm quite happy with it. But there is a main channel video coming out in 2 weeks' time, really cool video, oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to it. Anyway, that's the plan, and I'll see you then.